welcome back to another episode of My Waifu and Me. And on today's episode, I am actually in my hometown of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I have decided, because I was looking at the map, that I'm going to stop in every half-price books in Oklahoma City. And surprise everyone, there's actually only 2 locations in Oklahoma City. I think there's only 2 locations in the entire state of Oklahoma. So that's essentially a quick manga hunt, right? I have no idea what the manga selection looks like here in my hometown. I haven't been back in a while, so it's going to be kind of fun to just see what sorts of manga are getting traded in at half-price books here. But before I go to the 2 half-price books, I'm actually going to pop in a Barnes & Noble that I just drove by. I'm going to pop in there, and then I'm going to run to the 2 half-price books, see what we find, see if we find any goodies today. So let's go in. All right, so I have never been in this Barnes & Noble. This is definitely a little outside of where I lived, a little far from where I grew up. But we're going to step inside, see if they got anything fun.
All right, voiceover Jerry here, back again. Let's take a look inside of our first Barnes & Noble. First, we have the Tokyo Direct, which I thought was strange. And then I found this My Hero Academia Funko Pop that I really wanted, but the box was mangled, so I decided to leave it. And here is the manga section in an Oklahoma City Barnes & Noble. As you can see, pretty big section. And yeah, I mean, pretty standard now. We've got the Attack on Titan omnibuses. I'm surprised by how many they've bumped out already, up to volume 18. Crazy Food Truck Volume 2. I pulled this out just because I read the first one. Thought it was okay. I don't know if people are that into it or not. I also saw Dorohedoro Volume 18, which was super random. I'm not sure why they keep that on the shelf. As well as Doubt Volume 1 and 2, which I think I mentioned in another video. I don't know. I didn't realize it was even still in print, or if it is, I don't know. Here's kind of their new release cart. Maybe there's some stuff on there that you are looking for, or you've already picked up, or you're excited to pick up. And then, yeah, Judge Volume 1. Again, I just didn't realize the series was, like, in print, or maybe it's not. I have no idea. And they had Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, which is getting an anime, I believe, next year. Already up to Volume 4, so they're definitely bumping these out a little quicker than I had realized. And then this was kind of interesting. It was a Tokyo Pop series called On or Off. Maybe one of you could tell me more about it. I just thought it was interesting the way it was printed and the full color. I don't know, just an interesting thing to see. I guess this is how kind of the new sort of content Tokyo Pop's putting out. Takamine-san up to volume 4 already. I don't have all the volumes yet, but I did start picking up some of these volumes for Takamine. And then, yeah, Summertime Rendering. You can see here, this is the first box set that is actually a Barnes & Noble exclusive. This is volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's just bundled together. There's no, like, extra with it other than the little cardboard sleeve. They also did a 4, 5, 6, which is, I think, a little more expensive, but you can see next to it, they actually had I believe all 6 volumes in stock, which was nice. And then, yeah, the Wotakoi Barnes & Noble cover. I hadn't seen this in my locals for a while. Don't know how. I guess they just hung out here in Oklahoma. That's why. So they were all just here the whole time. And then, yeah, a series here, Futari Escape. I thought this just looked interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not really feeling it today, but might be something to look at on Right Stuff later. And then Blue Box. Obviously, some people are very excited about that. And Tokyo Aliens. I've seen some people picking that one up. I actually really liked Aliens Area on the Shonen Jump app. So if anyone read that, that one was more fun for me. They got a lot of new releases or so kind of on this table. But for the most part, that's all that I found here in this Barnes & Noble. I know, pretty standard stuff. And look, you can even see the big 3 kind of hanging out, but they don't have their brother Bleach next to them. I'm going to move that over. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little Barnes & Noble in Oklahoma City before we get into the half-price books that are in the city.
All right, so palette cleanser, Barnes & Noble out of the way. Let's head to our first half-price books in Oklahoma City and see if we find any hidden treasure today. All right, let's head in right next to a Sprouts for some reason. Half-price books number 1.
Here's your general overview of the shelf at this first half-price books. But let's get into it. We're going to go shelf by shelf, and I just want to show you everything that they had here. So if you see something, make sure to comment down below what you would pick up if you were shopping at this half-price books. Love to hear. So here's Hitori Jime, My Boyfriend. I think that's like a spin-off series or like a one-off spin-off. Then I saw one of these, which is one of those villainous series. They're kind of very popular right now, so kind of interesting. Saw a couple volumes of that there. We got a couple other random stuff. And yeah, I'm going to go through this shelf with you guys. So, let's go through it, see what we see. Some stuff like Living Room Matsunaga. I know Waifu's picked that up before. Random Nights of Sidonia Volume 5 of the singles. Waifu and I are actually collecting the singles of this series. We do already have Volume 5, so didn't really need it today. I saw this, Konkon Kokuri, I don't know. Sometimes I just grab stuff off the shelf when it's like something I've like just never heard of before. This one was especially strange because it was just from a publisher that I don't think I knew much about. So you never know with different like old publishers what you might find at half price books, because there are just so many old publishers that used to publish manga. Here's Kami-sama Kiss Volume 1. I know I've pointed some volumes out before. Waifu is actually collecting some of that as well. I thought that was interesting. I think it was called Love Knot. Love Knot. Kind of an interesting volume shape size. Midori Days, which I believe this was a Shonen Sunday title, was printed all before the Shonen Sunday sort of logo was used in the US, I believe. My Androgynous Boyfriend Volume 1. I really thought about picking this one up. I believe I've heard from some other manga tubers that it's a pretty fun one. There's some Oh My Goddess volumes. I'm not sure. These were printed a couple different ways by Dark Horse. Not sure which print run this one was, but most of these were $4.99, which, I don't know. Some people like these, or the omnibuses I think that they printed. Not sure how people prefer that series, honestly. They had a big run of the Del Rey print of Negima. If you didn't know, Kodansha reprinted that series, I believe mostly in omnibus format, maybe in singles as well, but that was mostly all Del Rey prints there, which is the older publisher that actually put those out. You can see here's a couple other random Del Rey prints. If you didn't know, I actually collect some old Del Rey manga. It's something I'm actually kind of interested in. Psychic Busters is not one that I wanted, or Negima for that matter, and I left this in. I dropped the camera. So here I am, picking the camera up like a goofball, and back at it, back at the shelf. Here's a random Japanese volume of Slam Dunk, volume 27. Never know when you might find those. When you're out and about, you might find some random Japanese volumes sort of just chilling on the shelf. Here's something that was cool. Shin Megami Tensei Kan, volume 1 by Tokyo Pop. Didn't realize that there was a manga version of this. I know some people are big fans of the video game series, so tell me, are you a big fan of the game? Would you pick that volume up? I'm not sure. Didn't really know how many volumes there was. Sickness Unto Death was that series that I kind of pulled out a little bit there. And then there was this. These are some Robotech. I've actually seen these before, I think, at a small comic book shop. Might have even been in a video on the channel. But yeah, there they were here at this half price books for half off, which I considered. There's only one of the hardback Soul Eater, which, cool. And then, yeah, the Star Trek, the manga. And then I pulled this one out, which I have heard a lot about. I believe it's called Wandering Island. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to kind of put that one aside because I was very interested in that. Here's a couple volumes of a series. I can't even read the title now. Probably couldn't read it when I was there either, but I think it might have been a light novel, honestly. Could have been an actual series. So a bunch of Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt. Thought about it. They just didn't have the early volumes, so I hesitated for sure. Because it's definitely a series I've always thought about. A couple interesting things down here, like some Yokai Watch. Don't know if people are in. Do you guys remember Yokai Watch? It was a game. House Husband, Volume 5, randomly. Everyone's favorite Peak Fiction, Vampire Knight. Make sure to grab. I should have grabbed all that. Look at how many volume. I mean, come on. There's a couple more random Del Rey prints down at the bottom. This time of Tsubasa. You got some Trinity Blood there as well. Here are just a few. This is like another shelf. I thought this Ace Attorney was pretty cool. I think that I actually owned it at one point in my like past collecting life, but it's interesting to see it here. Got a couple other things here. Let's see. Bungo Stray Dogs. I believe that is one of the light novel versions of it. And then, yeah, down here we've got a couple other miscellaneous things. Death Note Volume 1, but it's the old SJ Advance print. It's not one of the newer prints, and it's not the larger black editions that they did. I thought that Darkstalkers thing was cool. I just don't think it was manga. I'm not really sure. It might have been. But Darkstalkers was a game I played a lot when I was young, so I thought it was kind of a cool little something or other for it. Blue Exorcist 1 and 2. I always like to pull these out if you didn't know. Or if you're not in the know about Blue Exorcist. Definitely kind of a longer running series. They have Battle Vixens, which I do collect that series. I do have that volume though. A couple other surprising things down here. I pulled this one out just because it looked weird, and I thought it was weird it was all wrapped, but don't know much about it. Maybe you guys can get down below and tell me about that. Then I saw this. Oof. Imanon. Both half off of cover price. It's volume 2 and 3 of Imenon. So yeah, that was a pretty sweet find, and I don't have Imenon, so definitely had to set those aside as well. So then we've got the Earl and the Fairy. Sometimes you find stuff you just never heard of. Golden Japanesque. I know a few people who collect that. But again, no volume 1, so I just didn't go for it. Other stuff. There's some get backers, etc. Definitely some interesting stuff. Don't know about Fushigi Yugi. I did see this Wii. I don't know how much Wiis go for, but I kind of want one. But that was mostly it for this first half price books. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you would have bought in this store down in the comments down below. Let's move on.
Okay, so surprisingly, I actually ended up picking up a couple volumes in there. I'll show you guys at the end what I ended up picking up from both stores. But yeah, I actually did find a couple things. And some of the stuff that I saw inside of there was different to me. Like just some stuff I hadn't seen at half price books in my area. Just a couple other random older volumes. Maybe even some stuff that you guys might have seen that you would have picked up. I know there were some things that I was maybe kind of teetering on the edge on, but I did end up picking up a couple volumes while I was here. But for now, let's head over to the second half price books here in Oklahoma City. See if we find any treasure there. All right, the second and final half price books here in Oklahoma City. And this one's special. This is the one I grew up going to. So we're gonna head inside, see if things have changed. I haven't been here in a long time, so I can't wait to see what we find.
And here is your overview of the shelf again. So we're going to go one by one through all the books on the shelf, and I'll talk you through it. Let me know if there's anything in this store that you end up liking or that you would have picked up. First thing here is Aoharu Ride. I really do want to collect this series, but this was a library copy, so I was like, I'll pass on it. Kind of interesting to see it, though. And these are some of those like new at half price. That's what those Berserk 41s are. Half price sometimes will get in new series, but at a reduced price. You might see some stuff on this shelf. I think I pointed at Combatants Will Not Be Dispatched, something like that. There's some interesting CMX prints of some older series. Then you can see here, this is Basilisk Volume 1. I actually do have this volume. This one might have been in a little better condition than the one that I have, but I didn't really think much of it. There's a Flame of Rekka Volume 2. Fushigi, a bunch of, so if you didn't know, Fruits Basket was originally printed by Tokyo Pop. This set is a little beat up. You can see some of the spines there that are kind of ripped up, but that was a bunch of the singles that were actually printed by Tokyo Pop before the Yen Press editions that were made later. Got a couple of random stuff, Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Eden Zero. I know lots of Eden Zero fans out there, so just not something I'm looking to collect. Here's a couple more Flame of Rekka volumes, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe those also might be Shonen Sunday. Before it was Shonen Sunday in the US, I believe so. A bunch of Hanakimi, if that's your thing. It's High School Debut, a bunch of volumes of that. More of that Villainess series. I think I pointed out the last one. I'm curious because I know they're kind of gaining some traction. These are some old Inuyasha, like old prints of Inuyasha, which some people like to collect those older prints. Couple other interesting things down here. Kana Kaiju number 8 volume 3. This one that I pulled out looked kind of cool. What else do we see here? Kigurumi, Komono, bunch of Zeldas. Again, that's more of that like new at half price. A couple volumes of Living Room Matsunaga. I couldn't remember which ones we have and don't have. I know Waifu has a couple of those, but I just decided, even if we don't have it, we'll make better. Magic Knight Ray Earth, which is pretty sweet to see. I strongly considered these for sure. I know this is a very well-known sort of older series. Marmalade Boy, which I believe is getting a full reprint. So that's, I think, volume 6 of the older print. And a couple of volumes of Haruhi Suzumiya. I've picked up some volumes before at half price. I think I have maybe like 1 through 4. So this was a strong consideration for sure. Then you'll see here just a couple other random stuff. Thought this was an interesting one here. My Boy definitely had some really nice artwork on the cover. I'd never heard of it, so it was the first time I was kind of taking a look. So I was kind of reading the back cover there. Definitely an interesting concept, and I just like the artwork. Sometimes, and I don't know if you guys do this. Sometimes I judge a book by its cover with manga. And I go, oh, wow, that artwork really stands out to me or looks different. And I always love the stuff that, I believe that was a Vertical print. Vertical always picks what I believe to be pretty cool stuff. A couple more miscellaneous, some stuff that we actually repeat from the previous half-price books. Here's a pretty solid run of Ouran High School and as well a couple volumes of Pandora Hearts, which Pandora Hearts was reprinted in like a big box set format moderately recently. I don't think that it looks like these singles. Pulled out this Galco-chan. I do have Volume 1, which is the one I'm holding there. I do actually own Volume 1 already. I got it from Half Price Books. So it was nice to see a couple later volumes. This was, I believe, Volume 3 or 4. It's a little hard to read the numbering on that series, which is, I don't know what the publisher was thinking. A couple other random stuff, some old Pokemon volumes, as well as Rave Master. If you're a Hiro Mashima fan, this is the series you need to go read. Like right now, go read Rave Master if you like Fairy Tail and Eden Zero. Tokyo Tarareba Girls. More of that Kieli series. I don't know much about it. Would love to hear more if someone has read it down below. Some Spy Family volumes. Oh, Maidens in Your Savage season. I have read that whole series. It's pretty good, actually. More Tarareba Girls to go with the Volume 1 we saw up above. Ultra cute. Some Vampire Knight. Yay, peak. Vampire Knight, peak. We Never Learn. Man, yeah, I'm just kind of blazing through here because it's just stuff that... It's very random. What I noticed at these two Half Price books is that there was not a lot of like early volumes or like straight runs. There was always like missing volumes or like not the first couple, etc. I thought this was really cool. One of my favorite older series, Sakigake Otokujoku. Very interesting to see the Japanese prints for this series. Very cool series. And then honestly, that was mostly it for the shelves that were out and about. I will take a quick look. This Half Price Books actually did have sort of a case that they hid some manga behind, which is pretty common at Half Price Books. So I'll scroll through that real quick, but that's really all they had at this Half Price Books. Make sure you're down in the comments and let me know what you thought about the selection here. What would you have picked up? That's everything for this second Half Price Books, and that's all the Half Price Books in the state of Oklahoma.
All right, so I have acquired some snacks, and I'm about to make my trek back to Dallas now. My Oklahoma City day is over. I'll obviously be back to spend some time with family for the holidays, but for now I'm going to head back home. I did grab a couple things, so I'll show you guys what I got when I get home. I don't know, I probably won't stop anywhere else on my way home, but you know me, I sometimes am just compelled to just like run inside of different places. I already stopped at a couple places that didn't even sell manga while I was driving, and I don't know. So I'm going to try to get home, but if I stop anywhere else, I'll try to take some footage, but if not, then we'll cut to me at home so I can show you guys what I picked up. Okay, one last stop has to be this Barnes & Noble, because this is the Barnes & Noble where I actually went to college, same city that I went to college in. So we're gonna run inside. I went in here many times while I was in college, so it could be interesting to just pop in. I'm on my way out of Oklahoma, this last stop, and then I'll be headed back to Dallas.
Yay, I found the Izuku Midoriya Funko Pop that I was looking for, and it was in good shape compared to some of the other ones. Some of them were a little damaged that were on the shelf there. And here's just a quick, broad view of this. I really didn't go in detail in this Barnes & Noble. You guys know what's in Barnes & Noble. It's always the same stuff. The only couple of things that I did want to point out was this Tower of God volume. It's interesting to see it printed. I was not a fan of the anime, but I know a lot of people really like this series, especially the webtoon, and this Jujutsu Kaisen 1 through 4 box set. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's take a look at what all I got when I get home to Dallas.
Okay, for real, going home now, heading back to Dallas. I will see you guys in like 2.5 hours, but it'll only be a couple seconds for you. Okay, bye.
All right, everyone, so I am home now, and so I want to show you guys everything that I picked up while I was in Oklahoma. I'll start with the stuff that's actually not manga, and yes, Pixie's getting in the way. So some of the stuff that I picked up that wasn't manga was obviously this Barnes & Noble exclusive glow-in-the-dark Izuku Midoriya. This is one thing that I really wanted to grab if I could find it, so I was lucky that I did. Another was, I did stop by a GameStop. I didn't take any footage while I was in there, but I found a couple more clearance fig pins. So I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the channel, but some of you who follow me on other places might know that Waifu and I actually have a pretty impressive fig pin collection. So I grabbed some random ones because they're all on clearance at GameStop right now. And what that means is they're all 50% off their standard price. So these ones are like $7, etc. So I grabbed Krillin from Dragon Ball Super. This is the glitter variant, GameStop exclusive Bakugo that they made, and he was also, like $7, so it's like half off that price. And then I also grabbed this. This is Namor, the Submariner, the classic fig pin. I thought this was really sweet. And this one was actually cheaper a little bit, so it was like half off the price, so yeah, $9.97, so it was like $5. So that was great. So, you know, it's never a bad deal, $20 or so, 3 fig pins, when they're normally like $15 for retail.
that's always a lot of fun. So let's look at the manga. So at the first store, I'm sure you saw when I was going through the shelves, I found Wandering Island Volume 2, just for half off cover price, so $7.49. I thought that was super cool. So Wandering Island Volume 2, as well as Imenon Imenon is what it's mainly called, Volume 2 and Volume 3, and these were also just priced at half off of the cover price, so $7.49 for both of those. So really good, about $21, $22.50 for all three of those volumes. I believe that Imenon is 3 volumes, and I believe that Wandering Island is 2. So I think I'm missing volume 1 for both, and those will be complete sets. So that was a really good find. I've always wanted to try these, and so shout out to Manga Crash. He is a big fan, and I always see his avatar on Twitter when I'm like, oh yeah, but happy I'm going to get to try those. And then I also grabbed Please Tell Me Gauko-chan. This was volume 3 for $7.49. This was now at the second half-price book sale I went to, and Please Tell Me Gauko-chan volume 4. I did pick up volume 1 from a half-price books before, so I'm still missing volume 2 now, but now I have 3 and 4. Can't remember how much of this actually got printed in English before it got canceled, but it would be interesting to have the complete set. Long canceled and definitely not going to be reprinted series. And then I also grabbed this, which I mainly only grabbed this because I read this on the back, and it just sounded interesting to me, so I was like, wow. So I looked it up, and there was only, I think it's 9 volumes, and it's like a seinen series. So yes, that means I'm missing 6 volumes still, but it's a good taste test. You know, I can try 3 volumes. They were only $6.49 each, and give it a shot. So it was a seinen, sort of like it kind of looks like it could get pretty rough. Kind of interesting premise, but definitely something kind of right up my alley. So I grabbed that. It's called My Boy Volumes 1, 2, and 3. And that's all that I grabbed while I was in Oklahoma. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that was fun to see what I was able to find while I was back home in Oklahoma, which is where, you know, it's Waifu and I's home state. So that's where we both grew up. We both grew up in Oklahoma. So I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, because that helps out my Waifu Me channel in the algorithm, right? So the more that you do that, the more you like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, you can only do it like once per account, but the more that you do that, the more it just shows more people our content. Because like if you're enjoying it, then most likely there are other people out there that will also enjoy it. So definitely like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It really helps us out. So on that note, keep reading manga, keep loving manga, keep collecting manga. This has been another episode of My Waifu and Me. Thanks so much. Peace.